My sister and I were both kidnapped by mountain bandits, but my parents and my husband only scraped together enough ransom money for one person. The bandits' greedy gazes lingered on my sister and me, and they told my husband to choose one of the two. My parents said anxiously, "Laner isn't married yet. A girl must never lose her chastity." My husband, with his heart and eyes full of my sister, said, "Let Xianlan go. Do what you want with the other one." But what they didn't know was that I was seriously ill and didn't have much time left anyway. What's more, my husband had even taken my life-saving money, just to make my sister smile. Since I was going to die either way, I turned and jumped off the cliff. I never expected that I wouldn't die, but my husband would go mad. I was seriously ill, and the doctor had no cure, so I could only sustain my life with some expensive medicinal herbs. Seeing the family's money gradually running out, a few days ago, I steeled my heart and sold all my personal belongings, exchanging them for a stack of banknotes, planning to travel far and wide to look for some miracle doctors. Unexpectedly, when I woke up, the banknotes hidden under the bed were gone. My maid, Xiao reluctantly told me that my sister Xianlan had taken a fancy to a batch of ancient books at the auction house today, but her bid wasn't as high as another family's. When she started to cry, Luo Jingchuan quickly came back to take the stack of banknotes I had hidden to appease her. I was just about to go out and demand an explanation from them, when I saw my little dog, Wang, curled up by the door, its front leg wrapped a few times in a cotton cloth, with faint bloodstains visible. I said angrily, "Who did this?" Having been sick for so long, I usually didn't even have the strength to speak, but now that I was furious, my voice actually had some authority. Xiao stammered. When the young master and the second miss went out with the banknotes, Wang chased after them, grabbing the second miss hem and not letting go. The second miss got angry, and just kicked it. Holding Wang, I ran all the way to the Shen residence, but in the front hall, I only saw my mother, who was embroidering. Seeing me running and out of breath, my mother frowned. "Nianer, just look at you. You don't look like a well-bred young lady at all." When I told her about Xianlan hurting Wang, her expression was even more incredulous. "It's just an animal. What do you want to do? You're going to blame your own sister over it." She said Xianlan wasn't here. After buying that batch of ancient books with Luo Jingchuan, her mood improved, and she was willing to go out. I thought, they've probably called upon those scholar friends of theirs again, to recite poetry, make couplets, drink wine, and admire paintings, having a grand old time. Mentioning that Xianlan was in a good mood, my mother also smiled slightly. Jingchuan is a sensible one, with him accompanying her. Laner also smiles more. I just find it laughable. Luo Jingchuan is my husband, yet he spends all day at my younger sister's beck and call. Is there anything so absurd in this world? As my chest heaved with anger, Wang nuzzled me, licking the back of my hand with his wet tongue, as if telling me not to be angry. A sour feeling welled up in my heart, and tears uncontrollably rolled down. "Good Wang, I'm not angry. I'll take you to see the doctor too." "Okay." At the entrance of the Shen residence, I happened to run into that affectionate man and woman walking side by side. Seeing me, Xianlan's smile immediately faded. She brushed past me coldly. "Mother, I'm back." Mother put down her needlework and got up joyfully. "Our Laner is back. Were you happy on your outing today?" As for Luo Jingchuan, he watched the mother and daughter with a smile for a long time before finally noticing me holding Wang. He frowned and said, "Shen Yan, how many times have I told you? Laner is afraid of dogs. You need to train Wang better. He just scared her last time, and now this happens again today." I just felt as if my chest was being slowly sliced by a dull knife. "Luo Jingchuan, do you really not care about my illness at all?" Luo Jingchuan's gaze swept over my pale face, and he seemed to hesitate a little, but still said, "I don't think your illness is that serious. You've probably just been worrying too much. We can keep slowly saving up for the medicine money, but if that batch of ancient books falls into someone else's hands today, Laner will be sad for a very long time." I was speechless, but Wang bared his teeth and barked at Luo Jingchuan. Woof. Usually, the relationship between this man and dog was still okay, so Luo Jingchuan was startled, and said angrily, "Truly an ungrateful beast." After saying that, he flicked his sleeves and left. "Luo Jingchuan, did you know that all the doctors in the capital have called my illness a terminal one, with no cure? I'm saving up all this money just to give myself the hope of finding a miracle doctor, to keep me going through the torment of my illness. How could you have the heart to destroy even this little hope of mine?" Because this month's medicinal herbs ran out, my whole body ached, and I only drifted into a half-conscious sleep when the sky began to lighten. In my dream, I was finally freed, leaving Luo Jingchuan, leaving the Shen residence, running far, far away by myself, roaming freely between heaven and earth without a care in the world. Perhaps it's better to just not wake up from this dream. Just then, a warm, wet sensation brushed against the back of my hand, followed by an anxious woof. That's right. I still have my little dog who loves me. Wang. I can't leave him behind. I struggled awake from the dream, weakly hugging Wang. It was in my arms, anxiously licking my face nonstop. All right. I'm not dead. I'm alive and well. I smiled to comfort Wang, yet my tears uncontrollably rolled down. Why be so heartbroken again? I asked myself. The person Luo Jingchuan likes is Shenlan, not me, his wife of 5 years. Haven't I known this all along? Ever since I saw the jadeite bracelet on Shenlan's wrist. I had seen that bracelet before. It was the one old Madame Luo used to wear. She had said with a smile back then that this was an heirloom only for the Luo family's daughter-in-law, and she would pass it to me once I married in. It's a pity old Madame Luo passed away from illness before I married in, and as for that bracelet, Luo Jingchuan said it was lost. Look, how ridiculous this man is. He clearly gave it to Shenlan, yet he had to lie to me like this, just like how he clearly loves her, yet he had to marry me. Luo Jingchuan was once my father's student. After he passed the imperial examinations and became an official in the capital, he would often bring gifts to thank my father, because he was handsome and was a good official praised by many in the capital. I couldn't help but always steal glances at him. He was very good to both me and Shenlan. Back then, I just thought it was a courtesy he showed to his mentor's daughter. Until the day of the Lantern Festival, he invited me out in front of everyone in the mansion, and for the first time, my face turned so red it felt like it was burning up. Shenlan is gentler than me, more talented than me, and more like a scholarly, well-bred young lady. Mom and Dad love her more, the servants respect her more, and even the other noble ladies in the capital prefer to hang out with her, looking down on me for not having the air of a proper young lady. Luo Jingchuan was the first person to favor me. I had always thought so, until the day I questioned him about the bracelet. Luo Jingchuan sighed and told me that the one he had always admired was Shenlan, and it was only because the two of them had a fight before the Lantern Festival that he deliberately asked me out to make her angry. Shen Yan, I can't give you this bracelet. If you're not satisfied, I'll gift you other valuable things instead. I don't want to lie to you. I married you back then because my mother fell ill, and I had the idea of latching onto the Shen family. Laner was still giving me the cold shoulder at the time, and my mother's illness couldn't wait, so I proposed to you. All I can say is, fate plays tricks on people. Otherwise, Laner and I would be a pair of harmonious, loving partners by now. For a moment, I almost suffocated, and pain ravaged my entire body like a tidal wave. But month after month, year after year, I've been in pain for so long. My tears should have run dry by now. The next day, while I was playing with Wang, the door was suddenly thrown open. Shen Yan, what's the meaning of this divorce document that you had Xiao Chui give me? With a face full of anger, Luo Jingchuan fiercely threw the letter he was clutching in his hand in front of me. It was the divorce document I had Xiao Chui deliver this morning, with my name already written on it. You scared Wang. I stroked Wang's head and said calmly, it means exactly what it says. I don't want to go on with you anymore. Luo Jingchuan was stunned for a moment, then he softened his voice. After you went to the Shen residence and made a scene that day, Laner asked about the situation and has already decided to resell that batch of ancient books and return the money to us. There's no need for you to be so willful. I laughed. Luo Jingchuan, do you think the issue between us is just about this bit of money? I've had enough of you time and time again. Cough. Before I could finish speaking, I couldn't stop coughing, and by the time I calmed down, the palm covering my mouth was already mottled with fresh blood. I was about to hide it, but Luo Jingchuan noticed, and his expression changed. You, Shen Yan, it was only a few days shortage of medicinal herbs. How could your illness get to this point? It's nothing serious, I said perfunctorily. I just caught a chill recently. Luo Jingchuan stared at me intently for a long time but couldn't seem to make anything out. After a while, he sighed. In any case, don't mention divorce again. As for this illness of yours, I will try to ask His Majesty to see if we can get an imperial physician to help take a look. But I didn't say anything, just focused on stroking Wang in my arms, perhaps annoyed by my perfunctory attitude towards him for the first time. Luo Jingchuan's voice deepened. What's wrong? You don't believe me, Shen Yan. I dare say that aside from my true heart, I have treated you well in all other respects, but ever since you married into my Luo family, you've been dissatisfied with everything, and your temper has gotten worse and worse. It seems it's just as Laner said. You're accustomed to extravagance and can't stand the humble life of a scholar's family." I was so angered by his arrogance that I almost laughed. I laughed even more at myself for those years I was infatuated with him. How I foolishly forced myself to read those classics of history and literature just to have something in common with him, only to end up being a joke in front of him and Shenlan. Seeing that I didn't reply, Luo Jingchuan became more certain that he had hit the mark, and he let out a cold sneer. "Tomorrow, Laner is going to transport that batch of ancient books to a manor outside the capital city. I can't get away, so you go with her. Don't let her be wronged by others when she's alone. After all, she gave up what she loves for your sake. It would be best if you could apologize to her." Luo Jingchuan. I looked at him quietly. This money was mine to begin with. It only returned to my hands after going in a big circle. I haven't asked you and Shenlan to apologize to me, yet you're asking me to apologize to her. Luo Jingchuan's gaze faltered for a moment. "If you don't want to apologize, then forget it. I didn't say I would force you." After speaking, he left without looking back. The next day, I still went to wait at the entrance of the Shen residence. Actually, I didn't want things to get so stiff with Shenlan either. I still remember when we were little. Even though our parents favored Shenlan more, I was still close to her. It's just that I don't know when it started, but we sisters grew more and more distant. Besides, from her perspective, she and Luo Jingchuan, a perfect couple, broke up because of me, so it's normal for her to be a bit displeased with me. Now that she's still willing to return the money to me, I should be grateful. After Shenlan's figure appeared at the entrance, I forced a smile and was about to go greet her, but I stopped in my tracks when I saw the peace sachet on her waist. After I got sick, I once took Xiao Chui to Chang'an Temple to pray for blessings. At that time, I overheard others discussing that someone had actually performed 1,000 full-body prostrations that day in exchange for a peace sachet blessed by the Buddha. Xiao Chui got curious and pulled me over to see, and then, what we saw was Luo Jingchuan praying piously before the incense table. Even though I had anticipated that he was praying for Shenlan, I still couldn't help but feel a bitter pang when I truly saw it today. It's a good thing, though, that I'm about to divorce Luo Jingchuan and can return this destined marriage between him and Shenlan to them. Later, after greeting me, Shenlan's expression also relaxed a bit, and she said softly, "Big sister, are you feeling well? That day I saw you storm into the Shen residence. I originally thought you were here to make trouble for me because of Ah Wang. It wasn't until after I questioned Jingchuan yesterday that I learned he had used your private savings. Jingchuan was too foolish in this matter. Big sister, don't you worry, I've taught him a good lesson, and I'm sure he won't dare to do something like this again." I forced a smile, and then heard Shenlan say in a soft, low voice, "That business with Ah Wang, I guess it was my fault too. It's just that I've always been afraid of dogs. It's my fault. I'll properly teach Ah Wang again." Shenlan being so understanding today, and apologizing to me repeatedly, actually made me feel a bit guilty. Along the way, the two of us finally broke the ice, talking and laughing non-stop, and this also brought some warmth to my heart. Losing a Luo Jingchuan in exchange for a little sister isn't so bad. After today, my hardships will probably come to an end. Once I divorce Luo Jingchuan, I'll take Ah Wang and Xiao Chui and travel the world, even if my illness can't be cured. But unexpectedly, as we were traveling on a remote mountain road, a group of robbers suddenly rushed out. Even though I was sick, I had at least learned some unorthodox moves, whereas Shenlan was a complete high society young lady. What's more, I'm the big sister. I subconsciously shielded Shenlan. There were only 4 robbers, but we also had 2 coachmen with us. A heated fight wasn't without a chance. I was desperately thinking of a way out, but somehow, I was hit hard on the back of the head and passed out. I don't know how much time had passed, but I groggily opened my eyes. Only then did I realize that I, along with Shenlan, had been tied up in a dark corner. Recalling what happened before I fainted, I said anxiously, "Laner, did you get a clear look at who hit me?" From that position, it must have been one of our own people. Shenlan shook her head. "Sister, I don't know. I was also knocked unconscious at the time, but, the pair of beautiful sisters are finally both awake." The bandit leader slowly sauntered over, a sleazy smile on his face. "Just in time. The people who came to save you have arrived." Shenlan and I were dragged to the edge of a cliff. Not far away, my father, mother, and Luo Jingchuan stood, just the 3 of them and no one else. The gazes of the 3 were almost unanimously directed towards Shenlan, and upon seeing her in such a sorry state, mother almost couldn't stand and was about to faint. The anxiety on Luo Jingchuan's face was even more obvious. He took a step forward and said through gritted teeth, "The ransom you want is right here. Hurry up and release the sisters." "Heh, You didn't bring anyone, so you do listen. The leader signaled one of his men to take the money chest, and after counting it, nodded in satisfaction. However, the leader's eyes darted. What I said was the ransom for one person, for 2 sisters. You'll naturally need 2 shares. My dad's face went pale. This is all the cash we in the mansion could scrape together right now. How are we supposed to come up with a second share? That's not my problem. The leader playfully took out a short knife and toyed with it. This ransom is only enough for one person. Well, return the other one when you've gathered the second share. So, do you want the older sister first, or the younger sister? As he spoke, the leader pressed the tip of the knife against Shenlan's neck, sliding it slowly. Shenlan screamed in fright. The younger sister. Let the younger sister go first. Lena is frail. She can't take this kind of scare, my mom said anxiously. My dad also gave me a guilty look and stammered. Jay, just do as my wife says. Nyener, you're the older sister. You have to be a little stronger. What does Lord Luo say? Luo Jingchuan bit his lip, silent for a long time. Seeing this, the leader said mockingly, right, both sisters are beauties. It's really a hard choice. His gaze lingered on mine and Shenlan's bodies, and the mountain bandits beside him also let out wicked smiles. Lena is still a virgin. She can't be defiled. After blurting out those words, my mom's face turned pale, and she didn't dare to look at me again. At this moment, my whole body felt like it was in an ice cellar. My fingernails digging deep into my palm. They had already prepared themselves for the worst. That the one left behind today would be, by this group of mountain bandits. Shenlan still needs to get married, while I am already a married woman, so it doesn't matter. But I knew that even if our roles were reversed, if today I was the innocent maiden and Shenlan was another man's wife, their choice would still be the same. I have never, ever been my parents' first choice. Finally, I looked at Luo Jingchuan, the husband who had vowed till death do us part with me before heaven and earth. Luo Jingchuan averted his gaze. His voice was very soft, but there was not the slightest hesitation in it. Let Shenlan go. The other one, do with her as you please. As promised, the mountain bandits untied Shenlan's ropes, and Shenlan stumbled all the way into Luo Jingchuan's arms, crying. Luo Jingchuan patted her on the head, then looked at me. Shen Yan, don't worry, we will raise the second ransom as soon as possible and get you out. No need. I smiled faintly. The leader laughed out loud. Haha, it seems the eldest Miss Shen is more willing to stay and play with us. You scoundrel, stop spouting nonsense about my wife. Wife. Oh my, I thought the one in Lord Luo's arms was your wife. If my hands weren't tied, seeing the look on Luo Jingchuan's face, I would have clapped. While the two of them were bickering, I quietly started to move, step by step, until I reached the edge of the cliff. Dad, Mom, thank you for giving me life. Take good care of my younger sister, Luo Jingchuan. As for him, I had nothing left to say. At that moment, Dad and Mom were completely focused on comforting Shenlan. They were too far away and didn't hear my voice. Only Luo Jingchuan noticed. He realized something, and his eyes widened in an instant. No, Shen Yan. A heart-wrenching shout came from behind me, but it was too late. I fell backward. Growing up, I didn't have many friends. When I was born, my family was still poor. My father was just a private tutor, and to supplement our family's income, my mother would show her face in public to sell embroidery at a stall. When I was still a baby, I was left on a chair next to Mom's stall to be watched over, and when I got a little older, I would hawk wares next to her stall. Many ladies and young misses, seeing how cute I was, would stop in front of Mom's stall. Our family situation started to improve when Mom became pregnant with Shenlan. Dad even passed the Imperial examination as the top scholar, and his official career was smooth sailing from then on. Before, they were busy with making a living and neglected to spend time with me, so after Shenlan was born, they compensated for it doubly, showering her with the utmost care and affection. Later, a fortune-teller said that of the 2 daughters of the Shen family, one was a lucky star. Mom and Dad were ecstatic, convinced that this lucky star was Shenlan. Once parents' hearts have strayed, they can never be set right again. Naturally, Shenlan didn't fail Mom and Dad's expectations, growing into a well-read, polite, gentle, and elegant young lady of a great family. Unlike someone like me who only became the young mistress later, I had an air of countryside rowdiness that I couldn't shake off. The noble ladies in the capital much preferred to hang out with her. Between Shenlan and me, no one would spare me a second glance. Al Wang was my first friend. When I was out for a stroll, this little stray dog latched onto me and followed me all the way back to the manor. When I fell off the cliff, the only thing I blamed myself for was leaving Al Wang alone in this world. I hoped Xiao could take good care of it and not let it get bullied. Woof, woof. In my dream, I heard Ah Wang's voice urgently calling for me, and I woke up drenched in sweat. Ah Wang. As I murmured his name, I realized my voice was terribly hoarse. Wait, how am I not dead? I was about to get out of bed when I saw Luo Jingchuan push the door open and walk in, carrying a bowl of medicine. Yin, you're awake. He gave me a gentle smile, but his face was very weary, as if he had just recovered from a serious illness. How could you back then? Do you know we searched the whole night at the foot of the mountain but couldn't find your body? Mom thought you were dragged away by a wild beast. She fainted on the spot. It was only later that we found out you were caught by the branches on the cliffside. Yin, you're blessed by fortune. Your days will get better and better from now on. I couldn't be bothered with Luo Jingchuan, pushed him away, and shouted, Awang, how strange. The A1 that would always cling to me in the past even if I didn't call his name. Today, no matter how I called, there was no sign of him. Luo Jingchuan suddenly hugged me. Yin, you should rest well first. Your illness, I already know about it. Don't worry, I will find the best medicinal herbs in the world. You will be fine. I was completely impatient and cursed. Luo Jingchuan, what kind of sick game are you playing? Luo Jingchuan's body trembled. He looked at me with pain and guilt, and explained patiently. Yin, you're blaming me for not choosing you that day, right? Actually, our troops were following behind at that time, and we also sent a few men to sneak into their den at night. We were already prepared for the possibility that the bandits would go back on their word. We would have caught them all in one fell swoop no matter what. Since it's the same no matter who you chose, then why did you choose Shenlan, and not me? I sneered. Luo Jingchuan's face instantly became unsightly, his body stiffened. I took the chance to shove him away hard, stumbling as I ran out. Xiao, who was waiting outside, hurriedly supported me. I quickly asked, Xiao, where's Awang? Xiao's eyes were already red, and just as she was about to speak, Luo Jingchuan came out of the room. Xiao lowered her gaze. Miss, after you and second miss were kidnapped that day, it was very chaotic in the mansion. Awang probably wanted to look for you, so he ran out, and now we don't know where he's run off to. My brain buzzed. I couldn't stand anymore, and just fainted. After that day, Luo Jingchuan stayed by my bedside almost all day. Every day, every time I opened my eyes, I would see him either staring blankly at me, or holding my hand, half asleep. He started frequently buying things back for me. Storybooks, card games, all sorts of puppets and shadow puppets. These were all things he used to look down on, feeling they were beneath a scholar. Then one day, he suddenly brought back a small dog, one that was 80% similar to my Awang. Yin, let's raise this puppy together. Okay, you can give it a name. My anger flared up in an instant, and I told him to get out. Luo Jingchuan left with a sigh. Xiao came to my bedside to attend to me. In front of her, I finally regained some energy, sat up and asked her, Xiao, I told you to arrange for people to find Awang. How come there's still no news of him? Was the money for the arrangements not enough? It's been several days now. Awang isn't the type to run off. If he couldn't find me outside, he would definitely have returned home. Has he been captured by someone now? Xiao couldn't stop crying. I sensed something was wrong, hardened my expression, and after pressing her repeatedly, she finally told the truth. That day, after you and second miss were both brought back to the Shen residence, Awang followed you there and wouldn't stop barking. Second miss was already frightened and said his barking was making her panic. Master then had someone beat him to death. My breath hitched, and a sharp pain spread rapidly from my chest. I covered my mouth with my hand, but I couldn't suppress the urge to vomit, and immediately spat out a mouthful of dark red blood. Xiao was terrified and quickly shouted to go get a doctor. Go to the Shen residence, I said with difficulty, squeezing out the words one by one from between my teeth. When I arrived at the Shen residence, I found Luo Jingchuan drinking tea and watching a play in the courtyard with my parents and Shenlan. It seems he finally couldn't keep up the act of guilt and deep affection he had been putting on for the past few days. Anian, are you feeling better? Luo Jingchuan asked with concern. Without even looking at him, I walked up to my father. Did you have someone beat Awang to death? Shenlan said softly. Sister, this is my fault. It was me that day. Shut up, I roared. Shenlan was stunned. I took a deep breath and asked the two of them with all my might. Dad, Mom, Shenlan and I are both your daughters, but all these years you've only ever favored her, never cared about me one bit. I've asked myself countless times, why is that? Is it just because of what the fortune teller said about her being a lucky star? Or is it because she was raised by your own hands? The proper young lady you personally cultivated, while you think I've gone astray. But did I want to go astray? When I was little, our family was poor. You were busy making a living. So when did you ever care about me? Fine. I can let all of that go. I'm grown up now. I'm the older sister. I shouldn't fuss over things like favoritism. But you knew Ah Wang was my only friend. Dad, how could you be so cruel to me? I screamed, tears streaming down my face. At this moment, father and mother's expressions were more awkward than ever before. An Yen, calm down. Luo Jingchuan stepped forward to support me, but I violently threw his hand off, took a few steps back, and looked at all of them, my eyes filled with accusation. Don't come near me. Don't come near me. I don't want to see any of you. Luo Jingchuan, when have you ever taken me seriously? Now you're paying a little attention to me out of guilt. Who cares? It's not guilt. Luo Jingchuan anxiously defended himself. An Yen, I truly want to live a good life with you. Let's just forget about what happened before. Okay. In that instant, I don't know if it was my imagination, but I suddenly saw a flash of hatred in Shenlan's eyes. Not okay, I said resolutely. Luo Jingchuan, didn't I already give you the divorce document before the kidnapping that day? If you refuse to sign it, we'll see each other in court some other day. I had Xiao Chui help me leave. I didn't go back to the Luo residence, but instead found an inn to rest. But I didn't expect that. The next day when I took the petition to the Yamen, the prefect would not accept my case. Every family has its own problems. Since you and your husband have not reached a consensus on the divorce, and he has not committed any evil acts that would warrant a decreed separation, please forgive me, but I find it truly difficult to accept your divorce document. Eldest Miss Luo, the prefect said with a smile. How could I not know? This was probably Luo Jingchuan and my dad bribing the prefect together. Just as I was despairing, a loud voice suddenly rang out from behind me. Today, eldest Miss Shen wants a divorce. Who dares to not accept the case? The prefect dropped to his knees with a thud. Young Marquis, I was stunned, and quickly pulled Xiao Chui to kneel down with me. The bond between a husband and wife is fate from a past life. Since your two hearts are no longer one and it's difficult to be united, you must have been bitter lovers in a past life. In that case, you should each go your separate ways in this life to resolve the resentment and untie the knot. Prefect Zhang, do you think what I said is right? Right. The prefect hurriedly replied. Xiao Chui secretly whispered in my ear, Miss, we're lucky today. We ran into a young marquis who upholds justice. I looked up at that young marquis, but what I was thinking was, why has he come to the capital city? Xia Wanzhou, son of Marquis Dingan, who was ordered to be permanently stationed at the borderlands. Around the time of my girlhood, Marquis Dingan had brought him back to the capital city to report on his duties, staying for a month or so. At that time, he and Shenlan were studying at the Imperial Academy, and when I went to play with Shenlan, I had met him as well. One time he got lost on the streets, and it was I who led him to Marquis Dingan's residence in the capital city. The little boy who was half a head shorter than me back then has now grown so tall and big. I couldn't help but smile a little. I suppose the drop of kindness from my childhood was being repaid today, but I didn't notice that Xia Wanzhou's gaze had been fixed on me the whole time. Under his pressure, the government office quickly approved my divorce document. When they sent someone to notify Luo Jingchuan to come and sign it, he still didn't understand the situation, even wholeheartedly thinking that the government office was telling him to come pick me up. It wasn't until he saw me walking out of the Yamen with Xia Wanzhou that the gentle mask he always maintained in public finally cracked. So that's your ex-husband? Xia Wanzhou raised an eyebrow, scoffing. What did you see in him? What did I see in him? I asked myself that too. Suddenly, I remembered the second day of our marriage. Because I was too shy to call the maids in to serve me, I did my own grooming and makeup. Everything else was fine, but I just couldn't get my eyebrows right. And right at that moment, A Wang had to come in and bother me. Seeing me all flustered, Luo Jingchuan laughed for a long time before finally coming over to take the eyebrow pencil from my hand. Husband, your hands are so skilled. Why don't you help me with my eyebrows every day from now on? Since my lady has given the order, your husband dares not disobey. Luo Jingchuan said with a laugh, gently planting a kiss on my forehead. 7 years of knowing each other, 5 years as husband and wife. It's not that I don't understand that he had some genuine feelings for me. It's just that this bit of genuine feeling could never compare to his years of obsession with Shenlan. Time and time again at the moments of choosing between the two of us, he would only ever choose Shenlan. I'm tired, perhaps seeing that I was lost in my memories, completely absorbed. Xia Wanzhou suddenly coughed. I looked at him. What did you think of those words I said for you when I taught Prefect Xiang a lesson just now? I figured he must be referring to the speech about divorce, and I nodded repeatedly. The borderlands aren't a place for literature and ink. But looking at Xia Wenzhou just now, he must have kept up with his reading, which is quite rare for a young marquis like him who doesn't have to worry about food or clothing. Xia Wenzhou chuckled lightly and said, "After I heard you married the new Xianxia scholar, I finally realized you like this type of bookish lad. No wonder when I confessed my feelings to you back then in the capital city, you were completely unmoved." I was stunned. What's going on? When did he ever confess his feelings to me? According to Xia Wenzhou, during the time he spent with me in the capital city, he had a secret crush on me the whole time. Later, when he was about to return to the borderlands with his father, he went to the Shen residence to find me, wanting to ask if I was willing to go with him, but I wasn't there at that time, so he left his family heirloom as a token, telling me that if I felt the same way, I should go find him at the grassy field where we often used to play. He waited and waited at the grassy field, refusing to leave even when he got soaked in the rain, until it got dark, and was finally led away by a servant who came looking for him. But after returning to the borderlands, he still didn't give up. He wrote to me every month to ask how I was, but he never received a reply from me. Later, he even deliberately threw a tantrum, asking me to return the token to him. It wasn't until 2 years later that he heard the news from the capital city about my engagement to Luo Jingchuan. Only then did he stop writing letters and went to inquire what kind of person that Luo Jingchuan was. Hearing these words, I was completely lost in confusion. But I never received your token, nor did I receive your letter. I didn't know about any of this. All I knew was that one day, I came back and you were gone. I was sad for a long time, thinking you didn't even say goodbye, that you didn't see me as a friend, and it was just me being wishful. Xia Wenzhou laughed. If I heard someone else say this, I'd definitely think they were messing with me. But when you say it, I believe it. Seeing you today, I realize you still have that same old clueless look. Seeing I was getting upset, Xia Wenzhou quickly changed the subject. What about your other good friend, Ah Wang? Take me to your residence to see him, and see if you've fattened him up. The air instantly fell silent. Xia Wenzhou saw my expression was off and didn't ask any more. After quietly walking with me for a while, I finally said in a low voice, "You came too late. He was beaten to death by my father a few days ago, because his barking was making my sister anxious." Xia Wenzhou instantly clenched his fists. "Shen Yan, what do you want to do? I will help you." "What do I want to do? Get revenge. And who should I get revenge on? My parents just favored Shenlan a little more. Luo Jingchuan just admired Shenlan a little more. And Shenlan, she did nothing wrong at all. Should I blame her for being more outstanding than me? Or blame her for being afraid of dogs? Besides, I'm already a dying person anyway. It's better to do some good deeds, fulfill their whole family's wishes, and go accompany my Ah Wang sooner." Thinking of this, I shook my head and changed the subject. "Xia Wenzhou, you said you went to my residence to give me the keepsake. Did you give it to the wrong person? Could it be that you gave it to the servant of some official who was visiting?" I said jokingly. "And those letters? The borderlands are thousands of miles from the capital city. It's possible the people from the courier station lost them on the way." But Xia Wenzhou just looked at me gravely. "There was no mistake. That's not for sure, because the person I gave it to was your younger sister, Shenlan." My heart suddenly sank, and I felt as if a bucket of cold water had been poured over my head. Shenlan, the keepsake, Ah Wang's death. In an instant, all these keywords quickly pieced themselves together in my mind, and a terrible suspicion surfaced, but I didn't want to believe it. Shenlan, how could she? She had clearly received far more favoritism than I did since we were children. She had no reason to do these things to me. "Is there some kind of misunderstanding?" I murmured. Xia Wenzhou sighed. "If you're unwilling to suspect Shenlan, then let me investigate the whereabouts of that keepsake and the letters I've written all these years." However, a few days later, Xia Wenzhou first brought me an even more unbelievable piece of news. The mastermind behind the mountain bandit incident that day was none other than Shenlan. He handed me a stack of crumpled paper, on which were detailed instructions for the mountain bandits on which day to act on which mountain path, how much ransom to demand, and if they got the ransom, how to go back on their word and force my parents and Luo Jingchuan to choose one of two. Word for word, it was all the familiar handwriting of my sister, Shenlan. My hands had already started to tremble, and I finally remembered something that I might have deliberately forgotten. That day on the mountain path, when facing the kidnappers, the one who struck me from behind, from that angle, it could only have been Shenlan. "Do you know where I found these papers?" Xia Wenzhou looked at me. I didn't understand. Could there be anything more chilling than finding out the mastermind was Shenlan? In Luo Jingchuan's study, I suppose when they rounded up all the mountain bandits and went to wipe out their lair, they discovered this correspondence. Shen Yin, can you understand? So, your parents, and Luo Jingchuan, they also knew about this. No wonder. There was a lump in my throat, and I couldn't speak. No wonder Luo Jingchuan only told me that their troops had wiped out the mountain bandits, but didn't tell me what happened afterwards, or why they didn't escalate the matter by going to the government office. So, it was all just to protect the person they held dearest to their hearts. Miss, it's snowing outside, and the young master, Lord Luo, is still kneeling out there, Xiao Chui said with difficulty. Don't bother with him, I said indifferently. After leaving the government office that day, Xia Wenzhou helped me choose another villa to recuperate, but I don't know what's gotten into Luo Jingchuan. He comes to kneel outside the main gate every day after court ends. Everyone in the capital is now praising Luo Jingchuan's deep infatuation, and in turn, they're gossiping that the eldest daughter of the Shen family doesn't know what's good for her, not cherishing such a good husband. But, Lord Luo said, he submitted a memorial to His Majesty to plead, and had the government office reject your divorce document, Xiao Chui said nervously. I almost laughed out loud. What a move. Luo Jingchuan. Xia Wenzhou used his power to pressure the government office, so he went and found an even greater power, kneeling here every day. He's also stirring up public opinion in the capital, making those who don't know the truth pity him and despise me, and I'm afraid the one on high has been misled in the same way. For the first time, I felt such disgust for these silver-tongued scholars. When I walked out of the door wrapped in a fox fur cloak, what I saw was Luo Jingchuan dressed only in his thin official robes, already covered in a thick layer of snow. Yin. Luo Jingchuan raised his head, his eyes already red. That year when I was about to take the exam, the person who bought me paper and brushes to encourage me, was it you? Not bad, you finally found out. I sneered. Why didn't you say? Why didn't you tell me? I always thought that person was Shenlan. Of the two young ladies in the Shen family, the eldest isn't literary, while the second young lady has the reputation of a talented woman. So that's why So what? So you felt grateful and fell in love, and after passing the examinations, you wanted to get to know that Miss Shen. Then don't you think your love is cheap? You just fall in love with whoever helped you that day. That year, Luo Jingchuan came from the countryside to the capital for the examinations, but after the long journey, his money had long run out. Not only could he not afford an inn, he didn't even have the money to buy a brush, so he wanted to ask for a meeting with my father, who had once been his teacher in a private school, only to find out my father had been dispatched elsewhere, as he was squatting by the entrance of the Shen residence, at a complete loss. I, who had been sitting on the eaves and had overheard his conversation with the servant, got the idea to act like one of those nameless heroes from the storybooks. I called Xiao Chui to go to the bookshop and buy the 4 treasures of the study, along with some silver for him to stay at an inn, and had a servant give it to him. And the servant only said that it was a gift from a Miss Shen for him to study hard and do well in the examinations, but didn't specify which Miss Shen. After Luo Jingchuan learned about the temperaments of the 2 daughters of the Shen family, he subconsciously assumed it must have been the well-read and courteous second Miss Shen who helped him. Even more coincidentally, it was precisely because I had gone out early with Xiao Chui that Xia Wenzhou couldn't find me, so he entrusted the token to Shenlan and then waited at the pasture for a whole day. A series of mishaps. What a trick of fate, Luo Jingchuan said in pain. Yin, give me another chance. In the past, it was me who saw wrong, trusted wrong, and loved the wrong person. From now on, I will make it up to you properly. Make it up to me. Fine. Then let's start by reporting Shenlan to the authorities and sending her to jail, I said mockingly. Luo Jingchuan's expression changed. You know everything. I looked at Luo Jingchuan with a cold stare. Yes, she was muddle-headed about this matter. But Yin, Laner is your own sister. If you do this, what will your father and your mother think? I directly turned around impatiently and had Xiao Chui close the door. This man is truly ridiculous. He kept saying he loves me and wants to make it up to me no matter what. But even now, compared to the suffering and injustice I've endured, he still wants to protect Shenlan's innocent reputation. Early the next day, the sound of my parents shouting and cursing came from outside. Shen Yin, you say mom and dad are biased, and well admit it, but at least we never skimped on your food and clothing since you were little. How could you do such a heartless thing? That's your sister, your own sister. Is there anything you want do? Will you only be satisfied if your mother hangs herself at your door? I was helped up by Xiao Chui. These days, I've been getting increasingly drowsy. If their scolding hadn't been so rowdy, I wouldn't have woken up for a good while. As soon as I stepped out the door, a slap was swung right at me. Stunned by the hit, I clutched my face. My mom raised her hand to hit me again, but this time, Luo Jingchuan, who had just appeared, forcefully grabbed it. Dad, Mom, this whole thing is my fault, and my fault alone. Just hit and scold me. Isn't Anyan a victim too? The moment Dad and Mom saw him, their anger flared even more. Mom's slaps all landed on his face, and it was under the old couple's verbal abuse that I finally understood what had happened. It turned out that Luo Jingchuan had actually sent Shenlan to prison. Actually, as soon as Xia Wanzhou told me that Shenlan was the mastermind, I had already written a petition to the government office and submitted the letters I found. But at that time, the government office felt there wasn't enough evidence, and since Luo Jingchuan, who personally wiped out the bandits' den, didn't come forward, they couldn't make a rash decision. And last night, Luo Jingchuan went to the government office with more evidence that he had previously concealed. A trickle of blood seeped from the corner of Luo Jingchuan's mouth. He looked at me pitifully and told me to go back inside and stay out of it. However, seeing his miserable state brought me immense satisfaction. So of course, I had to go see Shenlan's miserable state as well. On the other side of the iron bars, Shenlan was slumped on the ground with messy hair and a vacant gaze, until she saw me walk in with Dad and Mom. She then got up and cried out, "Dad, Mom, save me." When Luo Jingchuan also walked over, Shenlan's gaze instantly turned sinister and venomous. "Luo Jingchuan, how could you do this to me?" Luo Jingchuan lowered his head. "Laner, one must take responsibility for their own actions." "Responsibility? What responsibility? Didn't nobody die? Isn't Xinyan alive and well? I was just scaring her a little, and now you all want my life." I looked at Shenlan quietly, and asked in confusion, "Shenlan, since we were little, you were always the one who bested me. Dad and Mom favored you, friends admired you, so I don't understand what you hate me for. Why did you do these things?" Shenlan said impatiently, "Didn't I already say it? It's because Luo Jingchuan fell in love with you. He betrayed me. He no longer thinks about spending his whole life with me. You two shameless dogs deserve to die." "That's not all I'm talking about. Xia Wanzhou said he came to our mansion when he was a child and asked you to give me a keepsake, but I never received it. And all those letters from him, where on earth were they sent?" Hearing Xia Wanzhou's name, Shenlan's face turned completely pale. "He, the young marquis, he has returned to the capital city. It's just that." After the paleness, a shy girlish blush actually appeared on her face, and Mom and Dad and Luo Jingchuan were all stunned. Xia Wanzhou actually hadn't yet found out the whereabouts of those keepsakes and letters, but looking at Shenlan's reaction now, they were most likely in her hands. I didn't make a sound, and in the silence, Shenlan suddenly started laughing. "That's right. Mom and Dad dote on me. My friends admire me. But was I born with all this? Shen Yan, do you think I really enjoy all those books, paintings, brushes, and ink? The way I studied and researched so painstakingly was how I earned the title of a talented lady, and how I earned Mom and Dad's attention. But the first time I developed feelings for a boy back then, his eyes only had you in them. On what grounds? On what grounds? Clearly, when anyone is in front of the two of us, they should choose me. I've already put in so much effort. From then on, for every single person who appeared around us, I would lure them into making a choice, to choose me, or to choose you. And look, don't all those noble ladies in the capital only ever play with me, and not even give you a second glance." Shenlan laughed sinisterly, but her laughter suddenly came to an abrupt halt, turning into loud, painful sobs. "So I understand even less. It was the same with the young marquis, and it's the same with Luo Jingchuan now. There's clearly a better me right in front of him, so why would they still fall for you?" Why, Mom and Dad were simply heartbroken, and Mom even cried along with Shenlan, wiping away her tears. "My Laner, you've really suffered. All right, now that everything is clear, it's all Mom and Dad's fault. We forced Laner to do something she didn't like, which made her become obsessed. Nyener, hurry up and withdraw the complaint, and get your sister released." I touched my cheek that had just been slapped. The swelling had clearly gone down, but why did it still hurt so much? "Make Luo Jingchuan agree to divorce me, and I'll withdraw the complaint." I just threw out that one sentence. Luo Jingchuan clenched his fists. "Shen Yan, I will never divorce you. Jingchuan, is there no place for me, your teacher, in your eyes anymore? Have you forgotten that you said I gave you a second life, and that you would repay me by working like an ox and a horse for the rest of your life? Heaven, earth, sovereign, parents, and teacher, are you going to be an unfilial and unrighteous person? My father suddenly knelt down before him. Luo Jingchuan looked flustered and hurried to help him up. Father, Nianer insists on divorcing you. And there are no feelings left between you two anyway, just let her go. My father cried with tears streaming down his old face. Luo Jingchuan looked at me, the light in his eyes gradually dimming. To prevent Luo Jingchuan from going back on his word again like last time, I only withdrew my complaint against Shenlan after the two of us signed the divorce document in front of the prefect and a copy was saved in the government office archives. Outside the government office, Xia Wanzhou had prepared a carriage and was already waiting for me. I was just about to walk over when Luo Jingchuan suddenly grabbed me. Shen Yan, did you hear what Shenlan just said? I've fallen in love with you. The bracelet that mother passed down to her daughter-in-law. I didn't give it to her. I didn't lie to you. It was truly lost. On the very day mother was buried. It's just that Shenlan found it. And when she heard me say it was for the family's daughter-in-law, she insisted on wearing it. At that time, she was still in my heart, so it was hard for me to refuse. The peace sachet. I had promised to give you a better gift back then, and seeing your illness wasn't getting any better, I went to pray for one for you. It's just that later, when I discussed with Shenlan about selling those ancient books to pay you back, she was unhappy and made me give this sachet to her as an apology, which is why I agreed. You said my love comes cheap, that I'll love whoever helps me, but it's not like that. Before I even learned you were my benefactor, I had already fallen in love with you and wanted to spend my whole life with you. I was slightly stunned. Every little moment I had known and spent with Luo Jingchuan flashed through my mind. Not long after I discovered Shenlan wearing that bracelet, perhaps because of the overwhelming anger, my illness had indeed worsened a little, but at that time, Luo Jingchuan and I had just finished an argument and hadn't shared a room since. Every day, he would look at me as if he wanted to say something, looking like he wanted to talk to me but was dragging it out, unwilling to be the first to bow his head. After a long while, I let out a sigh. Luo Jingchuan, these are just words to make yourself feel better. Don't lie to yourself anymore. You didn't forcibly take that bracelet back, which proves that in your heart, Shenlan is indeed more a suitable choice for the well-read and well-mannered daughter-in-law of the Luo family. Trading the peace sachet for money, for one, shows that the sachet wasn't important in your heart, and for another, if you hadn't taken my money to please Shenlan, would any of this have happened? Lastly, no matter what you say, on that day at the cliff, when it was a life or death choice between two people, the one you cared for more and wanted to protect more was still Shenlan. Maybe you did fall in love with me, but you still can't let go of Shenlan in your heart. This kind of impure love is not what I want. I only want someone who, no matter what happens, will always choose me firmly. Luo Jingchuan lowered his eyes bitterly, his brow filled with sorrow. Xia Wanzhou came forward and pulled his hand off of mine, mocking, did you get that, young Master Luo? If what Anyan said was too subtle, then let me say it. You just want to have your cake and eat it too, hoping to have both sisters and enjoy the bliss of having two wives. Luo Jingchuan was speechless for a moment, then sighed as if accepting his fate. Treat her better. Don't be like me, regretting only after I've lost her. You don't need to tell me that, Xia Wanzhou said, but I frowned. The way they spoke as if they were passing me around like an object made me very uncomfortable. Besides, I'm a dying person. What's the point of talking about love and romance? Just as the sky showed its first light, Xiao Chui and I grabbed our bags and jumped onto the carriage prepared at the back door. The carriage set off quickly. Once we were smoothly out of the city gates, I finally breathed a sigh of relief, and Xiao Chui relaxed too, taking all my belongings to leave the capital city. I didn't tell anyone other than Xiao Chui, not even Xia Wanzhou. I stuck my head out the window, watching the capital city recede into the distance, and couldn't help but feel a mix of complicated emotions. Just as I was lost in thought, the sound of horse hooves came from behind. A person in a bamboo hat was galloping towards us on a black horse, getting closer and closer to our carriage. Miss, is that Lord Luo? Since when was he so good at riding a horse? Xiao Chui also noticed and was a little flustered. I didn't answer Xiao Chui, but I already had the answer in my heart. That figure leaped off the horse and jumped into our carriage in a few steps. Just as Xiao Chui was about to scream, the person took off their bamboo hat and smiled at us. Who could it be but the young Marquis Xia? What are you doing here? I'm here to tell you some news, Xia Wanzhou said helplessly. Miss Shen, you left in such a hurry, but did you know that after your sister, Shenlan, was released from prison, she was pointed at and gossiped about by everyone in the capital city? She felt humiliated and ran away from home last night. No one knows where she is now, and your parents are going crazy with worry. Of course I know about this. It's because Mom and Dad, and Luo Jingchuan, are all focused on finding Shenlan right now that I took the opportunity to leave. I sighed and said, Xia Wanzhou, since I left without telling you, why did you have to follow me? Xia Wanzhou said seriously, in the past, I only ever knew how to wait, and that's why I missed out on you. Amian, I don't want to wait anymore. Do you know that I'm sick? The doctor said there's no cure. It's not that I haven't developed some vague feelings for Xia Wanzhou, from our meeting in childhood to our reunion now, but, if my illness can't be cured in the end, why leave more entanglements behind in this world? I know, Xia Wanzhou said instead. I looked at him in surprise. As soon as I returned to the capital city, I went to ask about you. How could I not find out that the Shen family's eldest young miss has been frequently seeking medical treatment this past year? Then I went to inquire at the few medical halls you often visit. Xia Wanzhou lowered his eyes. Suddenly, he added, although the capital city is prosperous, its medical skills are not necessarily superior to those in the borderlands. Amian, I will go with you to the ends of the earth. We'll slowly search for a good remedy. There will surely be a turn for the better. Then do you also know that I've been hurt by Luo Jingchuan and have no desire to think about romantic love anymore? Whenever eldest Miss Shen gets tired of me and wants to dump me, just do it. I, Xia, won't go so far as to pester you. With Xia Wanzhou having said all that, I really didn't know how to refuse him. Half a year later, I heard the news that Luo Jingchuan was going to marry Shenlan and bring her into the mansion, but she wasn't marrying Luo Jingchuan as his official wife, but was being brought in as a concubine. It turned out that when Shenlan ran away from home in a fit of pique that time, she was actually captured by mountain bandits and violated. When she was found and brought back, Shenlan was already a little insane, and under the coercion of my parents using their past kindness, Luo Jingchuan finally agreed to bring her into his home, but after that, Luo Jingchuan was unwilling to return to the mansion often, frequently lingering in brothels, and Shenlan gradually lost her sense of security and repeatedly went to the brothels to cause trouble. Once, during a scuffle, she pushed Luo Jingchuan down the stairs, crippling one of his legs. Our dynasty values physique, speech, calligraphy, and judgment for officials. Now that Luo Jingchuan was a cripple, his official career was pretty much over. To preserve his status, Luo Jingchuan went to curry favor with the vice minister of personnel and married his daughter, who had a fierce reputation in the capital like a yiksha, making her his official wife. This vice minister's daughter, as soon as she entered the household, used a combination of kindness and authority to take over the housekeeping power. Even Luo Jingchuan was afraid of her, let alone Shenlan. Shenlan repeatedly made a fuss about going back to her parents' home, but this time, Mom and Dad didn't indulge her, because my dad, somehow, got implicated in a cheating case. The emperor, seeing he was old, didn't punish him severely, just demoted him and banished him to a remote place. With Luo Jingchuan having to repeatedly swallow his pride for my dad, the bond between teacher and student had long been mostly exhausted. Now that their positions were reversed, Mom and Dad were counting on Shenlan to suck up to Luo Jingchuan and the vice minister's daughter, to give Dad a chance to make a comeback. So how could they agree to let her leave the Luo residence? And Mom and Dad, somehow, later figured out that perhaps between the two daughters of the Shen family, I was the real lucky star. It was because of me that their livelihood improved, that they saved up money for father to go to the capital for the imperial exam, and that mother got pregnant with another child. Now that I was far from home, the Shen residence was declining day by day. When Xia Wanzhou and I were searching everywhere for doctors and medicine, we once passed through the county town where Dad was now stationed. Back then, Mom and Dad begged for a long time in front of the inn where we were staying, saying they wanted to see me, to apologize to me. They said they were wrong, that they shouldn't have not cherished me, their lucky star. I just found it utterly laughable. This whole talk about fate and lucky stars is something that exists if you believe it, and doesn't if you don't. Even if only one of the Shen family's two daughters is a lucky star, why can't my parents treat both daughters fairly? Why must they play favorites? Thinking about how I've been ignored by them for so many years because of this lucky star verdict, I'm even more disgusted by them constantly talking about their lucky star daughter now. Whoever wants to be the Shen family's lucky star can go be it. That afternoon, I quickly pulled Xia Wanzhou and Xiao Chui and left through the back door. A few years later, I was galloping through the woods on my horse, when the familiar sound of horse hooves came from behind me again. Hey, Miss Shen, now that you're well, are you just going to dump me? Xia Wanzhou asked as he caught up. You're the one who said it, that I can dump you any day I get tired of you, didn't you, young Marquis Xia? Say you would never pester me. Xia Wanzhou was speechless for a moment, then finally said, I know you've gotten used to a life of wandering these past few years and aren't willing to settle down with me in the borderlands, but my parents want to meet you no matter what. Let's go back and get married, and then we can leave together again. How about that? Get married? Who said I'm going to marry you? I laughed, as if he had expected me to say that. Xiaowenju's body slumped, and he lay dejectedly on his horse. I soon left him far behind. Xiaowenju, let's make that tree the finish line and have a race. If you can beat me, I'll go get married with you. You have to keep your word. Xiaowenju perked up again, waving his horsewhip and starting to gallop wildly. I let out a laugh, and with a flick of my horsewhip, also galloped forward. The sky is high and the sea is wide. There should be a long and happy future waiting for me, right?